Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says President Obama should stop whining. Here's Senator Graham. All right, Senator, now I know you've said the president should stop whining about taxes, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but first I want to give you a little hell. It's almost the end of the year, and I know your party doesn't control the agenda, but it's a very bad time to be talking about taxes. You've had 10 years to do it, taxes.
Sure.
You don't have a budget, so how do you know how much you really need for the government to run? And then what's with all this aggressiveness about waste in campaigns, and yet we have incredible billions of dollars of waste, and you guys don't even go out and collect it, so maybe we don't need as much as you think you do.
Well, all I can tell you that Medicare fraud is a huge problem that's ripe for the fixing. Yeah,
so fix it.
Well, there's efforts to do that, I hope, in the new bill that we passed.
But don't ask people for taxes till you fix it. It's the Senate's job, the House job.
I think there's two things about taxes. Most people feel like we have enough money already, we waste some of what we have, and they don't really have any more to send. So let's control spending, show the American people that we're better stewards of their money, finding out how we waste it. But the big problems we have is entitlements. We've made promises we can't afford to keep. The baby boom generation is going to retire here in the next 20 years. 30 million people coming into Medicare and Social Security. You got a lot of young workers. We got smaller families, and somebody needs to fix that before it ruins the country.
Well, I'm not even getting to the question of entitlements. I'm talking about just the abject billions in waste. I mean, it's tremendous amounts of money that is just wasted, goes right out the window. The Joint Strike Force alternate engine that the Defense Department says, we don't want it. We don't need it. And President Obama says he doesn't want it, yet we can't get it defunded. And
well,
billions of dollars.
I'm on the other side of that issue. I think we shouldn't put all of our hopes and dreams to one company. What if that company goes out of business? The best way to lower cost is to have competition. So when you give a monopoly to one vendor, then I think you've got quality problems and you're going to have price problems. So I like the idea that two companies could produce the engine. I think we'll get more engines at lower cost.
We can't afford that luxury right now, though. I mean, and if the Secretary of Defense doesn't want it, why should we have it? If
It's just a difference of opinion. I don't like the idea that we have one company making all the engines for the Joint Strike Fighter. I'd like to have two companies competing to make those engines and hopefully lower cost.
All right. Well, I digress from what we came here for. Taxes. You say the president's whining. What do you mean? And maybe I'm whining about waste.
It's okay. This is a free country. It's okay for you to challenge a politician about how taxpayer money is spent. But this is the President of the United States. It's a job like no other job in the world. And it really was disappointing for me to hear the President to come out after the deal was struck on taxes and say, you know, these Republicans are hostage takers, then turn on his own base and say, y'all are giving me too hard a time. Look at all the great things I've done for you. What people want out of a president is someone who can get both parties in a room, find the best deal for the country as a whole, and with dignity, firmness, and grace, sell it. And you're not doing yourself any favors when you call your political opponents enemies and hostage takers, and you're not helping yourself in the eyes of the American people by whining about the problems your base give you.
But isn't it sort of, when he became president, and what I heard from the Republicans very early on, maybe late January, early February '09, is that he made some announcement, I won.
Well, I think
and it sort of drew the line in the sand in terms of, it's not going to make friends when you say that. Did he say that?
Sure. He took two real large majorities in the House and the Senate. He turned his political agenda over to the most liberal people in the country, Pelosi and Reid, and they didn't want to work with the Republicans. They passed a stimulus bill with 3 Republicans. Not one Republican voted for the health care bill. He did not govern the way he campaigned. He got a lot of Americans excited about a new way of doing business. We're going to work together. There are no red states. There are no blue states. We're all Americans. And he's governed quite the opposite. The health care bill was sleazy. He bought votes to get to 60. He did it behind closed doors.
Well, that was Senator Reid, I think, did that.
No, that's the president.
Senator Reid.
No, you can't. After a while, you're the president of the United States, and you are the head of the Democratic Party. You can't just say that Harry Reid made me do it. Those bad Republicans are hostage takers. They made me do it. Don't you understand, left, that I got these mean Republicans and I can only do so much? That's unseemly. What I want the president to do is to be a leader. And here's his problem. Before he came here, he's never had a history of sitting down and solving hard problems. He doesn't have a deep resume. When he was in the Senate, he never did anything big. He's never had hard-headed Republicans and Democrats to deal with before. And quite frankly, there's some political immaturity showing here. He has never done the big, hard things before he got to be president. He came into the job probably the least prepared of anybody in a long time, and it shows.
So what should he do? I mean, we've got this problem, so now how do we get out of this
He should lead
mess?
our country.
How?
by saying this is a deal that allows people to go forward without anybody's taxes being increased. I don't like parts of it, but it's best for America. This allows people who are unemployed to get their benefits continued for 13 months. This will allow our economy to create jobs at a time when we're struggling to create jobs. I'm sorry I can't make everybody happy, but my job is to lead the nation the best I can. I stand behind this deal. I'm urging you to vote for it, and if you don't vote for it, you're going to accept the consequences.